What's up, guys? How we doing today? Hope y'all are doing fantastic. Today we're going to be talking about the real ID mandate. So, do we even need this? Lawmakers get real about the real ID mandate starting today. At the time of this recording, which would have been technically yesterday, but no, that would be today actually. It's 4 in the morning here, so it's like, was this yesterday or was this today? But this is today. They're starting the real ID, and that is for, I'm thinking before reading the article, I think that's for like getting on airplanes and stuff like that. But and it's kind of from it kind of was started kind of by the 9/11 stuff, because they were letting people on that didn't have actually IDs and stuff like that. So anyway, this article is from Fox News. I know half of you don't like Fox News, half of you do, so it's, take it what it is. I do stories from both sides. I do stories from the BBC. I do stories from CNN. I read it all, so I try to get both sides of the story. And this one just so happens to be from Fox News. The United States has had over 20 years to roll out the real ID. Starting today, passengers must have a real ID or another accepted form of identification, like a passport, to travel domestically in the country. I don't see a problem with that. They should have been doing that since forever. I mean, not necessarily just to travel, but to get on an airplane. Because, I mean, they don't allow people to have certain things. They don't allow weapons. They don't allow anything pretty much metal. They don't allow, there's a lot of things they don't. So why would you not have an ID? Don't you know who's trying to get onto your airplane? I mean, that makes perfect sense. I mean, I don't know why it's taking them so long. That's the problem. They should have done that a long time ago. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill spoke with Fox News Digital about how their home states implemented the final phase of Real ID as President Trump's administration signals there would be no deadline extensions. I had to go through all of that to get my license, and that was a year or two ago. Representative Diana Harshberg, Republican Tennessee, said Tennessee put that into effect a long time ago. If there's a hard deadline now, people better get on the stick. While some Republican lawmakers expressed concern to Fox Digital about their constituents not knowing or being able to get a real ID in time, most agree real ID was a step in the right direction for national security. What are you getting on a plane with? A fake ID? I mean, like what? I mean, how are you getting on a plane without a real ID anyway? I mean, if that's a concern that, oh man, now I have to have a real ID to get on this airplane. Yeah, you do. You have to have a real ID to buy cigarettes. You have to have a real ID to buy beer. You have to have a real ID to do a lot of stuff. You don't think getting on an airplane is, there's a lot of people's lives at stake. Don't you want to know who's the guy sitting next to you is legit? I mean, I'm not saying you're the bad person, but wouldn't you like to know that everybody on that plane knows who at least they know who everybody is, and they know that whether or not you're a good person or not, or wouldn't you like to know that just for your own safety? I mean, it's not just because they don't trust you, it's because they don't trust the guy next to you. They don't trust this guy next to you. That's why they're doing it. It's not because they don't trust you getting on an airplane. They don't want those same kind of people that took 4 airplanes and crashed them into the trade centers in the Pentagon, and the other one was aimed at the White House but went down in time. So it's like, why? I mean, I don't see why that's a bad thing. Senator Rick Scott, Republican of Florida, called Real ID a better way to prove who you are and make sure there's less fraud in the country. It's important that every state does the same thing, Senator Tommy Tuberville, Republican, Alabama, said. We can't have some states doing one thing and some states doing another. This is the United States of America. The last time I looked, we are going to do it. Let's all do it the same. Do it the right way, take care of business, and go from there. Doesn't matter. Like I said, it doesn't matter what. I don't. There's going to get those stupid blue Democrat states that are, for some reason, going to fight it because it's the Republicans are saying it. So they're going to fight it just because they don't care. They just rather see the country crumble. Just so that the fact that they can blame it on Donald Trump or they can blame it on his stupid. But it's not him. It's their fight against it that's hurting, not what he's actually doing. Because I'd like to know who's sitting next to me. Maybe not know them, but I'd like to know that they've been checked and they've been gone through it. It's like the whole gun thing. There was a post on Facebook the other day of somebody was sitting at it. It was just a meme of someone was trying to post a little something to try and get clicks, and it showed a guy sitting at like a bar at a restaurant or something, and he had a firearm on his side. It's like, would you feel safe if you walked up and saw this guy? Yeah, I would, because I know that somebody else has my back, or I know that he's on. He's a good guy on the same side. Because bad guys don't just walk around with guns on their belt, just right out in the open like that. Bad guys don't do that. Bad guys conceal them. And I'm not saying all concealed carriers are bad guys, but bad guys don't just openly show that they've got something like that. If you see somebody sitting there, with a gun on their side, they're a good guy with a gun. They're on your side. They're there to, whether they're willing to or too afraid to actually use it, doesn't matter. He's got one, and he's got the potential to help in a crisis situation. And that's the thing. I'd like to know that everybody's gone through the same kind of deal, that everybody's been checked. That they know who everybody is, and they know that everybody's legit, and they know that nobody's going to take over the airplane and crash it into a building. Yeah, so I think it's a good idea. Even you blue states, even you Dems, you lefties that think that are just, I don't care as long as Trump fails. I don't care what they do. Come on, like seriously. And y'all call us the haters and the ones trying to divide the country. Representative Jeff Clark, Republican Colorado, told Fox News Digital that Colorado has not had any problems with Real ID, adding, Colorado's gotten a lot of things wrong, but on Real ID, I think they did a good job. Other states have not been as successful with their Real ID rollouts. Kentucky lawmakers, including Kentucky's Senate Transportation Committee Chair Jimmy Higdon, and 27 state leaders sent letters to Homeland Security Kristi Noem on April 17th requesting a delay on Real ID enforcement, citing concerns among Kentuckians who are still unable to access driver's licensing services due to limited appointment availability and long lines for walk-ins. I get it, but if your state did a good job, they would have already informed everybody, and everybody would, you put this out, like I said, they've had 20 years to get this to get this going, and I'd say 20 years is plenty of time to get yourself a driver's license. If you say, hey, we're working on this act and it's going to be taking place, it's going to be, give them some advance notice so people can do it. But I mean, it is what it is, but that doesn't mean you should just allow people, because people are going to come up with excuses. Instead of just getting it done, they're just going to come up with excuses. If people started doing a fraction of the amount of time that they spend making excuses, there would be a lot more getting done. I feel bad for you, but like I said, just excuses. Excuses are lies, as Jocko Willink says. Excuses are lies. Quit making excuses and go out and do it. I mean, if you can't get on a plane, you can't get on a plane. That's that's your problem. I mean, I'm not trying to say that in a bad way, with all due respect, but that's, you should have had time for this. This has been a 20-year in the making flaw that I don't understand why people are. I can't get one. It's too hard to get in lines, and I understand the long lines, they suck. But if you got to have one to fly on a plane, guess what? You got to have one to fly on a plane. The Trump administration confirms in a statement to Fox News Digital that states would need to comply by the May 7th deadline, despite Kentucky's delay requests. Sorry, Kentucky. If even California's getting it done, I think Kentucky should be able to get it done. Just saying. California, New York, Illinois. If those states can get on board and do it, there should be no reason Kentucky can't get on board and do it. What I'm concerned about is that constituents who may not be aware of the real ID requirement, or that didn't have time to get their real ID, will show up at an airport to go on a flight and then realize they can't fly domestically anymore without that real ID. Representative Nicole Militakis, Republican New York, said. They need to do better on telling people, get it out there. Put it when you go to buy your ticket. Say, hey, you must have a real ID in order to fly. Because a lot of people book their flights at least weeks in advance. And if they put something on there and put like a note on there that, hey, you must have a real ID in order to get on this plane, that should give you at least a few weeks to get it. I mean, it's take responsibility. Meliotkas said she has been trying to get the word out to her community that passengers will either need to get a real ID or travel with their passport starting Wednesday. See, been trying to get the word out. See, it's not your fault that people aren't listening. People are just like, I'm just going to get on that plane. And I think the government needs to be more proactive and do advertisements. I would urge DHS and TSA to be doing that to get the word out there so people can get their real ID as soon as possible, she added. State governments, state news stations, state radio stations, get the word out so that, your people jam out to the radio, to the music, and then have an ad come up. Hey, if you want to fly domestically, you better get an ID because you're not going to be able to fly anymore. And that might, I got a trip coming up. I got to, it's, get the word out, because, then if they say, well, I wasn't told that. Yeah, you were told. You were told. However, Senator Eric Schmidt, Republican Missouri, took the criticism a step further, telling Fox News Digital that real ID has not really been talked a whole lot about in Congress, and we're starting to get that questions from constituents. Whose fault is that? Again, whose fault is that? It's not your constituents' fault. It's not Trump's fault. It's your fault for not talking about it. And I mean you by Congress. It's not, our Congress and our government needs to do better. And I know that's asking a lot for the government to do better, but I have to do good at my job. You need to do good at yours. It's just because we, the people, are paying your salary. So you should be getting what we want done. And that's what we want. We need this. And so it's like, it's your own fault for not doing it. And that's what we pay you for. And if you want to be reelected, you better start getting on board and doing what you need to do, because otherwise you can be out pretty quick. Because we, the people, know what we, the people, want. We want to make sure that the people have ability to make accommodations. But the question is whether or not we even need this. We haven't even had that debate in Congress. We should, Schmidt added, despite Congress passing the Real ID Act in 2005. They passed it in 2005, so apparently they have had some debate and discussion on it. Just because you weren't elected in office at that time doesn't mean they haven't had discussions on it. It was passed in 2005. Why is it taking 20 years to finally roll out these laws that you're passing? Because this was a law that passed in 2005, people. That was back in what? Bush's time? Obama, it was before Obama, so Bush? This was a long time ago. Yeah, there may not have been discussion. It's already been debated. It's already been ran through Congress. It's already been passed. Now all you gotta do is roll it out. They should have rolled it out right then and there. Again, what are you guys doing in Congress? Twiddling your thumbs? Because obviously you're not getting this done. It's taking you 20 years. 20 years to get this thing done. To get this thing rolled out. You should have passed it and rolled it out right then and there. Then we wouldn't be having these discussions right now because it would have already been in effect. But apparently Congress has better things to do than keep us safe. Representative Dale Strong, Republican, Alabama, had a different take. Get the yellow star on your driver's license. It'll help you down the road. I don't know what that means exactly, the yellow star on your driver's license, but... And that's the article. So, basically, do your jobs. And those that are watching, if anybody that doesn't have a real ID, go get your real ID if you want to fly on a plane domestically. I guess they don't care if you're flying out of country, but I think they should care, but I think they should just... If you're getting on a plane, I think that should be a worldwide thing. I think that should be just a worldwide law, world law. You can't get on this plane unless you have an actual real form of ID so we can see who you are. So we can see who you really are. And I'm not saying that you're a bad person or you're a bad person, but there are bad people out there. Wouldn't you like to know that those bad people are trying to get on a plane and sit next to you on that same plane that could potentially crash that plane? Wouldn't you like to know that? Wouldn't you like to know that they've been checked and they've had all their, I would. I mean, I choose not to fly for that reason because there's been a lot of planes go down. I mean, considerably not really, considering all the planes, all the flights that go up and come down. But there has been a lot of plane crashes, especially lately. We've been getting a few more. We've been getting planes go down. So it's, I don't know. It's just, if I was to fly a plane, I would like to know that everybody on that plane knows that everybody on that plane has been checked accordingly, and those that are in charge of letting people on have checked to make sure that everybody is legit. Because there's bad people. I mean, and if you've got to inconvenience yourself and go get an ID to keep yourself and everybody else safe, let's do it. Okay, let's do it. Yeah, it may be an inconvenience, but I think you should have an ID anyway. I mean, you should have some form of valid real ID anyway, just because, whether it's a driver's license, some of you may not drive and that whatever, but you should at least have some form of identification, a real government issued form of identification. I think why wouldn't you? I mean, unless you've got something to hide. But seriously, this thing was passed in 2005. And now you're just now complaining that we haven't had time to do this. 20 years. 20 years is pretty quick. I mean, time flies by. So, but anyway, that's what I got for you today. I appreciate you watching. Do me a favor and do the YouTube stuff. Click the subscribe down below. There's also links to some of my other YouTube channels. There's another one I'm trying to get up and going, trying to get it moving, and trying to funnel some of my DIY and repair videos and some of my gear review videos into that channel, so I can try and get a second one going, and try and kind of niche this one this direction, and then make another one for the other. So because it's kind of, but anyway, so I'm trying to do that, and if you wouldn't mind, just do the YouTube stuff and do us all a favor and carry a gun or carry some kind of a tool to help defend yourself and others, and go out and get an ID. But have situational awareness. Be aware of your surroundings. There's bad people out there. Like I said, there's the world's getting, and it's getting worse. So carry the most effective thing that you can carry legally to protect yourself and those around you, and stay aware of your situation. Know your surroundings and try and catch them before they catch you. Anyway, appreciate y'all. Love you. See you in the next one.